Important day, of course, when it comes to tariffs, both for the US and for China and for all the other countries in between. How do you see this ending?
Well, that's one of the great questions. I think one of the problems at the moment is that there's no clear off-ramp, what the administration necessarily wants in order to wind back the tariffs on China, obviously, specifically, but there are tariffs now on countries through the steel and aluminium tariffs. And, getting to a deal is going to be what's crucial here, but we don't know what that deal would look like for the administration to claim success.
Well, that's right. I mean, there's a huge amount of unknowns at the moment, but what we do know is that these tariffs to the US are going to hit at 12 o'clock our time, around about an hour and a half from now. Then we've got China saying they're going to react very quickly post that. I guess the big question is what happens next. Donald Trump has previously said if China retaliates, then he would put another 200 or even 400 billion worth of tariffs on the table. And it seems like there's no indication at this particular point that there are backroom discussions happening between the two countries. I mean, we are trying to predict something, of course, when we don't know exactly what's going to happen. But do you believe that there are any discussions currently ongoing?
You've got a couple of problems here. One is that President Trump is, convinced that the US holds the stronger hand here and that he can keep ratcheting up the pressure, particularly on China, and that China will eventually fold. This is basically based on looking at the trade deficit with China, where the United States imports a lot more than it exports. And so sheer numbers alone mean that at some point China runs out of goods that actually can impose tariffs on. So the threat to add an additional 200 billion actually is more now, once you add in the current range of tariffs, than what the China imports from the United States. So for China to retaliate, they're going to actually have to, in effect, look for some non-tariff measures. And, that's really the big open question, like what do they do on that front if this actually ratchets up further? The US economy is doing quite well. And so, I think there's a sense as well that the US can take this hit. The bigger question, of course, is the political space is closing for both Trump and President Xi. For President Trump, in their Section 301 report, which laid out a whole range of concerns the US has, this is going to require deep economic reform for China to address, and tariffs are not going to get there. And President Xi has made this an issue of, standing strong and nationalism, and it also closes any political space he might have to compromise and remain looking strong as well.
Still watching? Perfect. Click here to watch another great video from CNBC International. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.